Greetings, Pacifica alumni. My name is Sharon, and I appreciate being included in this event. My Pacifica degree is in methodological studies with a focus in depth psychology, and I completed my doctorate in 2008. I'm in the process of yet reinventing myself again, but in the last decade or so, I've had the pleasure of teaching at various universities and academic institutions. Over the years, I've managed to convince chairs and directors to allow me to teach my own curriculum, and that's no small accomplishment as an adjunct faculty, and I'm sure some of you out there know that. My focus and interest over these years is in borders and conflict and how women and children navigate the violence it creates. My current book, The Female Warrior's Son, is a meditation or contemplation, if you like, on violence against women and children and what happens in a society that places certain people or groups above the law. It's a historical novel taken from actual events in the state of Chihuahua, Mexico, and the town of El Paso, Texas. I spent 5 years working on this book, and I wrestled with its demons for many years until I succumbed to its current format. I say this because my original intent was to produce another academic piece, report on events in what many academics believe to be an unbiased perspective, academic writing that is. But as this is Pacifica, and my training is in Pacifica, my unconscious had other plans. During these 5+ years of research, I traveled in and out of the state of Chihuahua and Texas, talking with anyone that would basically give me some time. I would spend weeks talking to newspaper reporters, religious groups, government employees, activists, child advocacy groups, undercover narcotics officers, all really on both sides of the border. I spent time with victims of abuse as well as family survivors of murder and mayhem. Some of the family survivors had contracts out on them by bad people that they could not even shake because of their undying pursuit of justice. Now, the book I've written is about domestic violence. It's about murder, what happens in a culture that allows misogynistic tendencies to take precedence over justice and equity in Mexico. But it is also a commentary on how the United States participates in these injustices and how we treat our neighbors as they struggle with atrocities that come out of a misogynistic culture. And this misogynistic culture, I would like to point out, exists on both sides of the border. Both of our cultures are sick with it. This misogynistic culture produces binary perspectives based on centuries of hierarchical thinking and action. I'd like to read a couple paragraphs from my acknowledgement page. It still contains the energy and power pushed forth from my spirit. The journey to publication of this novel has been long, arduous, and at times debilitating. I have put others and myself in harm's way as I try and struggle with the brutality of rape and murder for sport. Of course, men, women, and children are being murdered at an alarming rate throughout Mexico and Central South America. Corruption, drug and human trafficking, and gun running may be at the heart of this macabre passion play, but all directions point north. Many in the United States comfort themselves by pointing to corruption south of the border while refusing to acknowledge the corruption within the United States that at best allows and at worst colludes with this hydra of corruption, trafficking, and murder. I have seen contempt in the eyes of U.S. Border Patrol agents as they rip apart the car of a Mexican family traveling north, while at the same time hear reports of their accepting bribes to let drugs, guns, and sex trafficking victims through without a second glance. The CIA are thugs for hire in Central South American countries seeking to remove indigenous peoples from their land so mega corporations can rape and pillage the same lands for untold profits. The FBI has perfected the system of rivalry that exists for drug traffickers and government as they compete for money, power, and geography. The US government would like us to believe it is all them. Do not be fooled. We are all participating in this danse macabre. But the murder of women and children cuts deep. It is as a mother that I claim myself a sister. It is as a single mother trying to raise children that I understand the myriad of difficulties and decisions made every day to try to keep food on the table and family members safe. Decisions that do not have the added horrors of a rape and murder for sport. In closing, I'd like to say I've lived in many countries and talked with untold activists in all levels of society. I believe there is one single aspect of our society in the United States that keeps total misogyny at bay. It is our laws. We as a society are not necessarily democratic, no matter what we like to tell ourselves. But we try to uphold laws in our society that allow our higher natures to excel in spite of our individual biases. But this will only sustain us if we are determined to keep all equal in the eyes of the law. We must protect our laws, especially the laws that give us justice and equity. We protect them by making sure everyone has equal access to these laws, fair and equal treatment, no matter what. We must be willing to work toward this, always. No one person or group, be it ethnic, racial, or socioeconomic, should have a different set of laws, or be allowed to bend laws, or break them. Our blind adherence to the laws of attraction have allowed all sorts of creepy crawlies to come out and slither around and do all sorts of untold harm. We need to devote more time to the laws of our own country, ensuring that all laws are equally distributed to all, challenging abuses and misuses. The world is watching, and without our laws, we are nothing more than another misogynistic culture we try to convince ourselves we are above. I'd like to thank everybody again. I appreciate your time and attention. Thanks to Bonnie and Diane and everyone else at Pacifica.